Take a look at all this gear. This is a lot of gear. All of this is good quality stuff. All of this is stuff that you would want to have in your bug out bag if you had to bug out. The problem is when you add up the weight of all of this plus more, it's a lot of weight to carry. There might not even be room in your backpack for all this stuff. We don't know. But we're going to go through all this gear and we're going to decide, should we take it or should we leave it? Will this go in the bug out bag or are we going to leave it behind? Now this coming up week, I'm gonna bug out. Some people say I've already bugged up. No, I'm gonna bug out. I'm gonna put a pack on my back and I'm gonna walk at least 20 miles. I'm gonna shoot for 30, but I'm gonna tell myself no fewer than 20 miles. And I'm gonna do this over 2 days' time. I'm gonna camp out overnight in between those 2 days. You know, here on YouTube, I'm guilty of it. We all talk about our bug out bags. What you got in them? What's your plan? What's this? What's that? And you know, I've even gone out. A lot of people have gone out and they've either walked with their bug out bag or they've camped with the gear in their bug out bag, but have they done both? Probably. There's not much here on YouTube that hasn't been done, but I'm going to do both. I'm going to walk many a mile on one day. I'm going to camp out that night. And I'm going to walk many a mile the next day and try to meet my goal. However, like I said in the intro, I can't take all this stuff with me. So we've got to make a decision. What are we keeping and what are we not? So let's talk about my bug out bag. In this box is my brand new bug out bag. Never been used before. So therefore, this is a piece of gear that I am not familiar with. I've not tested. This is a Miscellaneous Falcon II backpack. Miscellaneous and the good folks there were nice enough to send this to me to test out. And you got to test out your gear. You absolutely must. I would never just take this out of the box and out of the bag, load it up with a bunch of gear, and then throw it in the corner of some closet somewhere and say, oh, we're good to go. We got our bug out bag. No, you got to test it out. So, look at this bag and all this stuff. All this stuff isn't going to fit in this bag. So there's our first limitation. Limitation number 2, obviously the weight. Limitation number 3, your imagination and the gear you have on hand. Let's start going through gear and decide what's going to go in this brand new bug out bag setup I'm going to put together and what we're going to leave back here at the barn. First of all, let's talk about our no-brainers, the things that I'm definitely going to take one way or the other. Number 1, tourniquet and first aid kit. Now this first aid kit's more than just a boo-boo kit. We got Israeli bandages in there, we've got bleed stop, yeah, we have the tape and the gauze and the band-aids, the set of tweezers and fingernail clippers and all that good stuff. But first aid kit is the first thing I'm putting in my loadout. And that first aid kit isn't going to get buried at the bottom of the bag. It's going to be right at the tippy top, or maybe even mounted to the outside. Normally I don't like to mount things to the outside any more than I have to, but it's going to be easily and readily accessible if needed. So this Falcon II backpack by Miscellaneous has a room in the back for a camelback style water bladder. After first aid, water is going to be top priority. So I'm definitely going to load out the pack with a water bladder. Speaking of water, I'm definitely going to bring my Sawyer water filter and my Canuck bag. It's got the easy open top for the wide mouth gathering of dirty water. The filter attaches to the bottom. We all know how it works. That's definitely going in the bag. I'm definitely going to take this little kit. I did a video on this, 2 weeks ago? All sorts of goodies in here. Water purification tabs, foot powder. Actually, I'm going to change this out and replace it with that. Lensatic compass, wet wipes, extra lighter, Swiss Army knife, mini multi-tool, bandana. This is definitely going in the bug out bag. A decent pair of work gloves. Not only will these keep your hands warm, They'll keep you from getting splinters, blisters, things like that. So they don't weigh much of anything. I know all this adds up, but they're well worth their weight. Another extra pair of socks, extra pair of undies. Definitely taking that along with me. Continuing on the list of, yes, there's no debate, I'm absolutely taking this. A decent bushcraft knife. This is the Keys by Button Hook Forge. That's going with me for sure. Absolutely going with 2 MREs. I could rat F these, save a little weight. I don't use the heaters that are included with these, so I could probably get rid of some parts of these, but these are going with a guy my size, walking as far as I plan to walk. I think a guy my size, you know, about 300 pounds, you're burning 180 calories per mile just walking, plus all, you know, your other, just your metabolic calories that you burn doing nothing. And it will be cold, so the calories I'm burning just keeping my body warm. I'm going to need more calories than what's in those MREs. Now, I could get by. I could stand to miss a few meals, trust me. But I'm probably going to bring more than just those 2 MREs. But we'll get there. A sleeping pad. This is a GI roll-up. I may not take this sleeping pad, but I definitely want something with a little bit of R value to insulate myself from the ground. The temperature, the day I'm planning on going on this little walkabout, at night it's going to get down to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So you gotta insulate yourself from the ground. That's how you lose all your heat, through the ground. I may swap this one out with a Thermarest accordion style pad, but I'm definitely bringing some sort of sleeping pad with me. So next up on my list of things that I'm absolutely taking, a military government issue style poncho. This one's from Miltech. That's going. I believe in my little kit there I had a little keychain light, but I'm definitely going to take a good headlamp. The Shemagh. This could be a pillow, this could be a lot of things. Doesn't weigh much, it takes up a little bit of space. It's going. So now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of things. Cordage. May not be this cordage. I may take some bank line instead, but cordage, definitely taking. But now we're getting into the nitty-gritty, aren't we? We're starting to get down to the stuff that you could take it or you could leave it. Like this. This is my Trangia stove kit. Got the alcohol bottle. I got the little tent peg things that you can jab into the ground. Got a little green scrubby pad to clean it out with. Even got a backup life straw. Somehow that ended up in there. Let's see, I've already got water tabs. I've got my Sawyer. Do I also take the life straw? Maybe. What could it hurt? Well, the weight could add up, the space can run out. In all honesty, as great as this Trangia stove is, and as much as I love it, I think I'm going to leave it. That's not going with. This kit weighs a couple pounds just by itself. It can stay. We can do without it. I've got a little hatchet and my cold steel special forces shovel. These weigh pretty close to the same as each other. Maybe I'll take one but not the other. This is good for chopping or cutting through roots. This is okay for digging, but it's really better for chopping. I think I'm going to leave them both. I am going to leave both of these behind. Now, if this was an inch bag, I'm never coming home bag, or I was planning on being out there longer than 2 days, or the temperature was going to get below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and a fire was definitely going to be needed to stay warm, I might consider taking one or both of those tools with me. Same as this. My Fisker's folding saw. Take it or leave it. Oh, man. I'm going to leave it. Now, I already can tell what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, he's going to leave behind one of the most useful tools out of all of them, but instead he's going to take X, Y, or Z. He's trading that for this. It's not just a that for this. You got to take everything into consideration. The weight of the object, how much space it takes up, how much are you really going to use it? I mean, ultimately, if you walk 15 miles one day and 10 days the next, or 10 miles the next day, your feet are going to be your number one priority. Staying hydrated, maybe taking in some calories, staying warm, sleeping at night in these kind of temperatures. Again, staying warm is your main priority. And when you consider that the sun rises at 7:30 in the morning and it sets at 6 p.m., I really only have 10 and a half hours of daylight to get my miles in. Now, does that leave me enough time at the end of the day to stack up a bunch of firewood and enough to make it through the night with a decent fire? That's a lot of firewood, and that's a lot of hours gathering it. Those are probably hours that I'm going to be spending traveling on down the trail, and I might have to find some other way to stay warm. This is my Ozark Trail multi-tool. This could just ride on your belt. Could prove useful. Should I take it or leave it? I mean, it's not as light as a feather. It does have some weight to it. I already have that mini multi-tool in my kit. Maybe I could get rid of that and replace it with this. This is obviously a much better tool. Oh, we'll come back to this one. Undecided for now. How about a little mini pair of binoculars? Again, these are some Ozark Trail, probably $25 binoculars. I've been testing them out a little bit, just looking around at stuff, and they're amazingly pretty decent. No complaints. They do fold up nice and compact. Should I take them? Now in a real situation, and considering that I might be traveling through some questionable areas, let's just say, some sketchy areas, maybe I want these so that I can scout up ahead. I can glass the area ahead to make sure that I'm moving into a safe situation and not a dangerous situation. I don't know. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. I think these are going to go in the undecided pile. The Silcock key. Every good survivalist YouTuber has to have a Silcock key because, this will get you water from those government buildings, and I don't know. I'm gonna leave this. One, I know my route. Yes, your route could change. There could be circumstances that arise that make you force you to take a different route, but there are no municipal buildings along my route. A whole roll of duct tape. Duct tape's great to have. I'm definitely going to have some duct tape along with me, but a whole roll, probably not. I'm going to leave this. Silverware. Great for camping, great for a day out. But those MREs I have, they've already got the plastic silverware. And in my little kit, I've got my little cricket eating tool. We're going to leave these. Fuel tabs. These go in those little folding stoves. They smell like kind of like rotten shrimp. These are all still in the bag though, so the smell's not too bad. If I had to start a fire and maybe the conditions weren't the best, these could be very useful, very handy. Are they worth the wait? They might be, because fire, if you need one, if you need a fire, it's that important that you have it. So why not provide yourself every advantage possible? I'm going to take those tabs. I'm going to take this extra lighter. That gives me about 3 lighters in my kit, but I'm taking it. A cutting board. You know, sometimes you just need a clean surface to work on. You know, if you catch a fish or something, or a squirrel, you just need a clean area to work on stuff. I'm not out there hunting and trapping. I'm not going to be fishing. Not this time anyway. I'm not saying you would never want to pack for that, but under the conditions and the situation and the mission, I'll leave that here. A ferro rod. I've already got 3 lighters. Why not? We'll take it. Spare backup knife. This is just I think this was from cheaperthandirt.com many years ago. This has gone on many a little fishing trip, many adventure with me. Am I going to take the backup blade in case something happens to my primary blade? How can you justify it when I left the axe, the shovel, the folding saw here? You know what? We're going to try to find room for this. We're taking it. All right, we've got a canteen, and here is also a canteen stand and a canteen cup. But this isn't any regular canteen. Oh no. This one is from Self-Reliance Outfitters and has a built-in filter. You can put dirty water in there, and you can pop the top just like a sports bottle, and you can drink filtered water. For a little extra insurance, you might want to add those water purification tabs, using those in conjunction with the filter, just a little extra insurance that you're getting clean water. Another product from Self-Reliance Outfitters, their PF M40 mess kit. It's made out of stainless steel. This one in particular I've got loaded with trail mix, tuna bowls, got it loaded with food there. Now I may be in the vast minority here, but I think it's close when if you had to decide you could only have one item, a metal container or a knife. What would you take? I think knife wins, but not by much. Some kind of metal pot or metal thing that you can collect water, boil water. Not necessarily even to cook. I do enjoy cooking in these, but just in case I have to collect and boil water. I know it's heavy. It's probably 2.5 pounds with all the trail mix and everything in there, but I'm bringing the food one way or the other, so yeah, we'll take this. A little P51 can opener, doubles as a spoon. A third flashlight. We'll put them in the maybe pile. All right, so now we're getting into the real controversial stuff here. This is a little scout tent. Just an El Cheapo from Amazon. It doesn't weigh. It weighs less than this hatchet. I'll tell you that much. This hatchet weighs more than this tent does. Now, what can this tent do for me? It can provide me something to sleep on, and it can provide me something to sleep under, as well as shelter from the wind. Now, if I had a fire and I'm inside this tent, that fire is not going to do me much of any good. But like I said, I may not have time to gather and collect enough wood to keep a fire going all through the night anyway. So, yeah, I've got my military poncho. I'm bringing this tarp. Probably, maybe not. This may be a very unpopular choice. I may get a lot of criticism down in the comments down below, but I'm going to take this tent with me. I'm going to hump this tent in my pack. And let me tell you the deciding factor. Let me tell you what really, because I thought about it long and hard. Yes, that tent takes up a lot of space. That tent is not the lightest thing in the world. But if I'm bugging out, that means I'm going from point A to point B. I'm planning on it taking at least 2 days, so I'm going to spend one night out in the wilderness. Once I have spent that night out in the wilderness, the second leg of my journey, do I really need to hump that tent down the trail any further, or do I just leave it there? You know, I only have to carry it my first night, not my last night. So even if I was spending 2 nights in the wilderness, that last leg of the journey, I can just dump that somewhere in a trash can. Of course, we don't want to litter, but I don't have to carry that tent the whole way. Especially if I'm traveling from point A to point B and then I plan on coming back again. Guess what I'm going to have waiting for me at the halfway mark, or somewhere thereabouts, hidden away, is a little tent just waiting for me. So I'm going to take it because I don't have to carry it the whole way. Look at this. It's big. It's bulky. It's heavy. It's wool. If it gets wet, you're up the creek without a paddle. But you know, it's going to get down to 40 degrees, and with that tent and a fire not really going to be a factor, I'm basically going to have this blanket, my clothing, the pad to insulate myself from the ground, and that's how I'm going to stay warm. So I'm bringing the wool blanket, and I'm going to bring this water-resistant bag, government issue, military surplus, in the hopes that if we do encounter wet conditions, rain, what have you, that maybe this will help keep it dry. So let's get back to the maybe pile. Maybe the can opener, the third flashlight in my kit. It needs new batteries anyway. I tell you what, I'm not going to take these. The multi-tool, I've already got a Swiss Army knife. I've already got a mini multi-tool. I'm not taking this. The binoculars, the little Ozark Trail small binoculars, like I said, because I am going through some sketchy areas, I am going to try to find room for this. And the life straw. I've got water purification tablets. I've got that fancy canteen with the water filter built in. I've got the Sawyer water filter. I've got a metal container for boiling water in. Do I need a 5th method to filter water? It really weighs almost nothing. I don't know. Make sure you're subscribed. Tune in next week, and maybe we'll see if I take this with or not. Until then, I'm undecided. So as you see, we've whittled down the pile of gear fairly substantially. We could whittle it down further, don't get me wrong. There's a little bit of fluff left here. There's still a couple things we could probably do without. The ferro rod, when you've got 3 lighters, the backup knife, when you've already got basically 2 pocket knives and a good high quality knife. We could go through and probably get rid of another pound or 2. What's that saying? Penny wise, pound foolish, something like that. I think we've done pretty well with the gear that I have available to me. I know there's better stuff out there. I know there's a lot of ultra lightweight gear. I get it, but this is what I have, and this is what I'm going to use. So I'll definitely have enough water. There's plenty of water along my route. I know I've only got the 1-quart canteen. I may bring a second one, but there's water along my entire route. There's no fear. There's no danger of it freezing, at least this week, maybe next week. But water will be it'll be plentiful. I just have to filter it and make it safe to drink. I've got plenty of food to eat. My sleep system is sketchy at best. I'm really going out on a limb taking this tent because, like I said, it brings along its issues compared to say an A-frame style or a lean-to style shelter. But that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm going to do it. What I want to know from you, because it's not too late, I can still add or subtract something from this kit. What I want to know from you is, what am I missing? What am I forgetting? Remember, I'm not going out to build a log cabin in the woods. I'm not going out to restart civilization. I'm just traveling 20 to 30 miles over the course of 2 days, getting from point A to point B. And really, you could put everything in the world in your bug out bag, but realistically, you should have a place to bug out too, right? You should have a destination pre-planned. So all that gear, let's say your destination is at your brother-in-law's house. All that gear should be in a tote in your brother-in-law's garage waiting for you when you arrive, correct? Not carried from your place all the way there. If you don't have to hump it, why hump it? Pre-stage it ahead of time in a storage tote or a wall locker or something. Anyway, I digress. That's a whole nother topic. So what I miss? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. I'll see you all down the trail somewhere, maybe even next week. Until then, have a great day.